This is the day of earnings after market close. It was at 128, and the very next day it actually jumped down about $10 over here. So there would be some good pickings over here. The other one that did well was actually 3M and M over here, right? And this one, honestly, I did not do it, but Aaron did it because he felt comfortable with the numbers. I didn't. Okay, this jump was relatively smaller, but this was something that was okay to do, right? Nicholas, you had a question about weekly hedge over here, and I agree with you. I said that earlier on, right? I said it earlier on. You were saying that there's nothing much in the takings for it. That is true, right? That's definitely true. So I am still staying away from any live trades for the weekly hedge over here until any of them show signs of any sort of life before we carry on doing it. Okay, so there are some questions that you guys have actually asked me, and I would like to actually look at some of them in sequence. And of course, one of the most good potential ones that we are going to look at actually is going to be Apple. Apple is a very, very good earnings candidate. Sorry, IAE candidate. Okay, so this IAE candidate over here, that is one that I do like to look at, because I'm going to give you a full year look at Apple right now. Okay, for those of you who don't know what these lines are, the vertical lines are the earnings date, if you haven't figured that out, and these slanted trend lines over here, these are the actual moves that were happening since the start of the third day of the earnings, thereabouts. Okay, and as you can see, if I put my mouse over, you can see that the beginning and end, in this particular case last February, had an earnings that started at about 117 and which ended at 133, so that was a big move. Alright, this next one in the middle of last year was at 127, which finished at 119. This is an $8 move. Alright, so this is a huge one. 124 and ended at 91, and of course the previous quarter over here is 122 and ended at 97. So Apple has pretty good moves. Alright, Apple has pretty awesome moves that we are looking at. So right now, what I'm going to do is to teach you how do you identify this third day price. I'll draw another earnings over here. So this is day 1, day 2, day 3. Now, let me just put it this way. Alright, a lot of you are asking about strike prices, Grace, strike prices over here. Okay, I would say that day 3, okay, is actually, hang on, just let me take a look at this. The earnings are on the 26th end of day. So this is day 1, this is day 2, and this is day 3. Day 3, which is on Friday, I want to check the first hour's price. I look at the hourly chart that we have on the 22 PMA. What I want to do is to see Friday's first hour price, which is actually at 95.5. Okay, so in this case over here, I go to Apple's options chain. Okay, and I want to see right now the option that brings me out quite a fair bit, thereabouts in May, which is 109 days. Okay, now this is what I don't like to see, Grace, and if any one of you is actually looking at this over here, our strike prices has actually shifted to close to 97.5. So I'm not inclined to take it if the prices are actually at 97.3 right now. If it's closer to about 96, it's edging closer towards 95, I would consider doing the 95. Okay, so 95 would be the one that I would be looking at. And if you look at the 95 prices right now, it's going for about $12 and change over here. And looking at the past moves of Apple, it can go in $20 over right now, and this looks to be a good, potentially good trade to take on IAE. What I'm going to do is to actually wait for the market to open, and then perhaps do some numbers on Apple IAE, and that would be something that I would look forward to actually doing. Okay, so I will also show you a sample of how you can take such trades over here. Okay, so that is it. Okay, Agnes, you asked me 2 questions. Alright, the first one, which is regards to earnings. You can hold it to day 2 of earnings announcement, but because of the fact that we are trading on the weekly hedge options right now, win, lose or draw, I would prefer to actually get out next day after the expected jump is being made. So that is it. Okay. Grace, the ETF trading, I would private message you separately on that one. Okay. To do that. Okay. And Agnes, you have another one which is HES. So very good. I have two potential trades that I can look at. But what I want to look at HES right now is this. While we have never formally actually used, we don't formally use the past jumps right now, what I do like to see is the past movements of this particular stock. And again, I usually like to actually put the lines out in the last 4 quarters just to see how this stock can do when an earnings announcement has been done. So I just simply put out the lines and I draw vertical lines over here, right, on the trades itself every time it has an earnings announcement. So there we go. This is another one here. Okay, it's very simple and easy to do. Okay, and it gives me a good visualization of what happens to this particular stock every time it has an earnings announcement being done, whether the stock can actually move or not. Right? Of course, HES just had their earnings announcement over here. Draw another line over here, and then I want to see over here how much it can move. Okay, so the market's going to open in a few seconds time literally, but I want to see HES whether it has good strike prices, good day of trades that we can look at. It's got May, which is very nice. It's 109 days just over the next earnings season, so we can do some numbers on it. Okay, so I can see right now that this particular trade is going to cost us about $9 or so, $10, right? I just want to see HES, is it a good mover or not? Okay, so rough moves over here. The first big significant move that it has over here. And this is something over here that moves about, this one in May is about 65, it's a $12 move, not bad. Okay, and this is even more impressive over here. This particular trade over here. Notice that I'm just doing some basic eyeball, that's all. This one over here, this is already a $13 move, right? This is a $13 move, so I'll stop there. It's about a month or so, right? And this particular one, last earnings results in August, right? So this is day 3. Day 3 actually moved up first, okay? So, well, this is a $14 move, went even lower, right? But then again, realistically, I'd probably be out somewhere here, okay? And of course the last one, well, that's a dead given one. This last one over here was a pretty big wazoo of a move. This is a $12 move, and this is actually $24 over here. And we are now out to here. An earnings report on the 27th, right? So we are going to do that, okay? Now, while I wait for the numbers to stabilize, let me just look at any other questions that you guys may have, okay? Right. Weekly hedge, I would just, while we wait for the market data to actually accumulate and open, I would just say this on the weekly hedge. Some questions you guys are asking on the weekly hedges. I have stopped the weekly hedges for a while right now because at the moment that I get 2 consecutive trades that did not go in favor of the way, I will not do it anymore. Okay, that is it. I will not do any weekly hedge trades at all. Okay, until they have 2 weeks of showing any signs of activity before I actually do that. Okay, so that is it. So we got two good ones over here. Okay, now there is another one. Okay, over here. Okay, Jenny, question over here about Apple. 3 months out. I prefer to have an options that goes through the earnings of the next one. That's what I prefer to do. Okay, now for those of you who want to actually take the trade for Apple in April, you can do so, but you really have to be out in the first 4 to 6 weeks, right? So if I see that the trade in May still has good numbers from it, I will be able to actually, I would prefer to do it, okay? Right, to do that, okay? Okay, there are also 2 other earnings candidates from the StockFinder. It is an exciting one because StockFinder is giving us a lot of results over here on R and DOW. Okay, so let's fire up the StockFinder right now. Right, let's fire up the StockFinder right now. And of course, if you look at my stock finder, it is different from yours. And I would say this. Okay, I would say this over here. I'll let it load up. Okay. Okay, I've got some individual questions over here, which I will take some time to answer with you guys over here. Okay. Some of your questions are actually pertaining to your individual. So let me give me 1 or 2 minutes. I'll reply you some technical questions and things like that. Okay. All right. So another one for you, please. Okay. All right. Just hang on your horses for those of you who are asking questions on IAE and things like that. All right. I am going to go through a more detailed trade on IAE. Okay. Another thing that's pretty exciting over here, while I'm trying to answer some questions over here, is that Miriam's 2T trades are in the works. We are hoping to launch this just after Chinese New Year, and unfortunately I will not be around during that time, but I hope to actually participate in some of the trades that we are going to have. Okay, so we are going to do that. Okay, just give me 1 second over here. Right. Okay, now if you look at mine over here, on my stock finder over here, there is a message over here which we're still refining the process of actually doing it. I'll give you a sneak peek again. We have some test messages that are being posted by Miriam. So it's going to be like that, very succinct over here. Alright, so we are looking forward to rolling this out in the next 2 to 3 weeks time. Of course, by that time, we are actually rushing out the video for the retreat for those of you who have done so. You can actually review the retreat materials once again. Okay. Now, of course, earnings over here. There are certain things that we do. Now, Agnes, you mentioned about MLM over here. It has earnings of $5 intervals. Now, I'm not too inclined to do that because it's not too fun to do so. Okay. Now, what about here's Raymond over here? Has given us an earnings, potential earnings trade over here. Raymond, please check out Rider System because it's in February over here. So just make sure your numbers do match up before you actually take that trade. This has an earnings interval of $2.50, which looks pretty okay. Dow Chemical is another one, I think. This is Dow Chemical. Dow Chemical has a weekly earnings trade over here. So this one might work pretty well because it has earnings of 50 cents. Now, for those of you who have done the retreat and are trading earnings based on the new criteria over here, we've got 2 pretty nice ones over here for you to do so. Good to see one of our team leaders. Thank you very much for that. Okay, and look forward to doing it. Okay, now, this is what I am going to also say this. Okay. Okay. Now, let's look at Apple first. Okay, a lot of work to do tonight. Okay, let's look at Apple first. Apple right now is trading at about $96 and a level of $96 over here. So this sets us up for a potentially good day to enter it at the numbers. Now I'm going to do my numbers over here, and this is what I'm going to say. Okay. Some of you would like to do in April, which has 74 days. Of course, the trade will be cheaper. It's going to cost you about $9.29, $30 to do so. Okay. So let's say the first strike price. I'm going to go Apple right now. Have a proper look at the first strike price again, just to have a good visualization of what's happening. Okay. So Apple's at $96 right now, which would make the 95 strike actually the best one for us. That's it. Okay. So, 95, okay, and the IV over here. Apple's IV is about 26-27%. The average is about 28 over here, but I like to use the one of the options chains is about 26, okay. So we'll project it out as 26 over here. And the intended move is about $12.35, okay. So which is about the kind of move that I expect Apple to do at about $12 here, okay. So in this particular sense of which, if you were to take this trade at about $9 right now, which is $9.30, $9.40, that would be pretty, what do you call, attractive. The main numbers over here might not be, so I might actually have the view of you guys right now that I may be more inclined to actually look at the table for this particular trade because they want it to be costly. Now I do have 2 things that I can do. So I can either take the April trade right now and be out in about a month, or take that gamble and wait for the trade to actually go for a week or two and hope that it stays at the 95 strike. And if it does stay in the 95 strike, that would make the main contracts a little bit cheaper. If I can get in the main contracts under $10, I would prefer to do the main contracts because I have a little bit more time. And of course, the main contracts are about higher IB at 29%. Okay, so if that IB is about 29%, it might change some numbers. The intended move could be about $13. So it's a coin toss for me whether to do April or whether to do May. And if this is the case, well, I would more likely to do April in this sort of environment right now. So that's the numbers for Apple, right? But for HPS here, something here that Agnes, you pointed out, the IB is a little bit high at the moment right now, so we're going to ignore this one. So it's a very, very good observation, right? I am in the hot seat right now where I'm monitoring questions and looking at checks. So thank you for pointing out certain things that we are that I can miss out. Miss out over here. Okay. Now, let me see numbers over here. Okay. Now, some of you are asking me, what should I do for such a certain trade like this? Now, if you want to do the April contracts over here, well, this is how I would enter that trade. Some of you are actually looking at asking me how do I enter such trades in IAE. It's actually pretty simple. Okay, so I want to do the 95 strike right now. I do right click, do a buy custom with a straddle entry and exit, which is going to cost me about $9 right now, and it's 95, right? What I usually do is that I try to actually put a target price right now, let's say about $11, which is about 20 to 24%. Once I do it, I convert it to order it, and that's what they want me to do. Okay, assuming that you have already set your template in. Okay, so this is something we want to look at and that we want to do. Okay, now one of the things that I have been also asked to do, which I will incorporate in this very, very short webinar over here, is a very small segment over here on how to set these settings in your computer. Okay, I have done this on the Jumpstart. I have done this in the segment itself properly, but a lot of you are still asking me how to do so. Okay, if you want to set a straddle or a strangle order over here, and you want to save both templates over here, it's very simple. One of the most common orders that we do is actually a straddle. So you open up any options chain on the right hand side, right click on any of the asked prices. Okay, now I will repeat that again. If you want to set a straddle entry and exit order, all you have to do is to right click on any strike price, asked price, and go to buy custom. Alright, go to buy straddle, and the straddle order will appear in the advanced order. Change it, right, to first trigger sequential, and then right click the links over here, create an opposite order, change it to the cancel, and save it. Now the save button has changed to this icon over here. You save it, you can actually place and also save it. It says strad entry exit, and go ahead and save it. That's it. Okay. Now, one other order that I would like all of you to actually put in also is a strangle order. A strangle order is used in certain circumstances where the IB is a little bit high, like in the case of HES, a little bit high. So to set the strangle order, it is also the same. Right click on the ask price over here, go to buy, and choose strangle instead. And when you choose strangle, the process is exactly the same. Change this to first trigger sequential. Right click the link box, create an opposite order, change the time enforce of the sub order to GTC. And then you can go ahead and save this. Clear this over here. Right, delete this whole thing over here. Right. And say yes, strangle, entry, exit. Why do we do that? Well, one of the key things that we like to actually do this is because if the market continues in its current movement on the downside, the IVs are going to be a little bit more higher than before. And what this does is that we might enter strangles on several kind of plays that we like to do, be it on the IAE, be it on the weekly hedges over here. Sometimes we may actually choose to actually do a strangle. Now in the case over here, Agnes S over here, okay, we may do a strangle trade. And I would just say this, okay, if those of you who want to try out the trades for you, Apple would be a better choice versus HES, but if you want to actually practice a strangle on HES, please carry on doing so. Try it on the April, the main contracts. The IVs definitely are headed towards the high 50s over here. Okay, so it's a little bit high for our liking, but it may still work with you. So virtually trade HES and virtually trade Apple, and of course if you ask me, I prefer to actually take Apple. If it was a live trade, I would prefer Apple rather than HES over here. Okay, so that's what I would say. Okay. Now, Raymond, question over here from Raymond. How do we know whether the IVs are high? Generally, if something is before it's a bit on the high side. Okay, it's on the high side. Okay, so that's it. Jesse, the IAE potentials are actually Apple and HES, but I would prefer to do Apple. But HES is not something I would know. Okay, so this is what I would say. Okay. Some of you are asking me about the ETF trading that we have discussed in the retreat over here. Now, for those of you who haven't been on the retreat, you won't know this. Okay. For those of you who are on the retreat over here, okay, so this is something that I would say. I'm looking at gold for this week. That's all, and that's all I'm going to say. Okay. Earnings candidates. All right. I'm not too hot on the earnings candidates today. Okay, so I would actually not. I prefer you guys not to actually take the earnings trade at the moment right now. Okay. So this is what I'm going to do. Okay. All right. Okay. Just give me 1 second over here. Somebody has a good trade over here. Okay. Right. Some updates. Okay. Some updates over here. Miriam's newsletter over here. Please go and read it today. Some tantalizing information on the 2T trades that we are going to actually offer out to you guys, and just make sure that your information is definitely current, because some things are getting excited over here. Of course, everyone is looking forward to actually recouping any kind of potential losses that we have already incurred on our retirement trade, and of course, if there's an opportunity for us to actually recoup that what the market has taken away from us, we would like to actually take it back, definitely. All right. The weekly hedges, let's summarize over here. It is not something that I'm doing at the moment for a while. Since Christmas, I haven't touched it. It's been a good 2.5 months right now. Okay. Now, Agnes' question: why is Apple not on the stock finder for IAE trade? Now, again, the stock finder does give us some scans over here, and sometimes what happens is that it may lose some candidates over here. Of course, we are always consistently trying to refine the scan results over here, but sometimes it may not be the case. Now, also because several things have emerged since the stock finder time, we're trying to update it, so we might miss some candidates. Candidates like Apple can be missed out, but we do know about it because we have been historically trading Apple for a while, and so it is good to actually keep records of the trades that you've done in the past. Now, what I actually do is this: I go to my trades over here, or my charts. I actually draw these lines. I draw these lines on the trades that I watch. So if I have drawn a line on a chart that I watch, I know that I've traded Apple before. I know to actually look at Apple for and IAE trade. Right. Another trade that I have been going to look at is IBM's earnings itself, because this particular one jumps during earnings season. So you can see all the gaps that happens during earnings. So it's one to watch. Right. One to watch. And it could be a potentially good IAE trade too, but then again, because I think we missed the trading opportunity over here on IBM. Okay. Then again, we might not have. This is day 1, day 2, day 3. It's going to be at 124. So let me do up some numbers on IBM first, just to see whether it can be right. So IBM, we're still in the window, I think. Let me just double check the number of days in trade. I would definitely in. Okay, so this is day 3 over here. So this is the last few days of my entry, 124. So IBM's earnings over here, IAE here. Alright, let's do up some numbers. IBM is about 20% on the IV, let's give it 21%. Okay. Price is actually the one, which I believe is the 124. 125. Okay, 125. The IV is about 21%. The intended move is about $13, and hang on, just let me resize some of the windows over here so that you can have a clear picture of what's happening. So the intended move is about $13, and you are paying about $8 for this move. This actually looks pretty good. Okay, so you might want to take a look into this, because now a few observations that I actually have. Now look at this over here. The day 3 is over here. It moved about for a while and it's settled in right now, and this is kind of a sweet spot over here for IBM, because this stock can give us a $12-13 move, and I paid $8 for it right now. This looks actually pretty good, and this is April's numbers. I want to see what now. IBM, I don't do July because there's no May. Alright, so IBM actually looks pretty good. Let me double check my numbers. Please double check my numbers, because I'm doing this on the fly right now. If I'm paying about $8 to $9 for a $13 move, this actually looks not bad. Okay, not bad. Beeping. Now, Beeping just asked me a very interesting question. I do apologize if this webinar is getting a bit too long. Alright, this is going to be an interesting one. I can guarantee you. She has asked me a very, very interesting question. Google earnings for tomorrow. This is not for everyone. Let me just say this first, okay? This is a big one. If you look at earnings of the past Google jumps, Google jumped $100 in this earnings. Google jumped $50 in this earnings, and God knows how much this would jump tonight. Actually, it's actually tonight, and I would just look to see Google here. Okay. The law of trades that you can practice with tonight. Okay, so Google at 763. Beeping, it's anyone's guess, right? If I base it on the last 2 earnings jump of $50 over here, if you see this right now, I think the moves have been crossed in. Okay, because the IV it's now 75%. Ouch. Okay, and you are going to pay close to $50 for this trade. At the money. So this is not something that I would look at right now. I know what you're thinking. I know what some of you are thinking over here, right? I am not comfortable doing this Google trade, because if it jumps less than $50, all these options would implode. All of them would implode. So not that fun. Not that fun. Beeping, call me tomorrow. I want to talk about the earnings of Green Mountain Coffee. She actually found another one, it's GMCR. This is one that is this is a potentially big mover also. Okay, GMCR, and this one looks pretty good. Okay, this is, let me just double check. This is Green Mountain Coffee, if I'm not wrong. Okay, this is something that looks to be a jumper. You look at, okay, Beeping, don't do GMCR. Forget it. Something has happened to it. I think that if you see this happening for 2 months, this stock is undergoing something. Okay, it could be a merger and acquisition or something like that. So don't do this. Okay, this is a classic example. If you see a stock flatline, don't do the earnings anymore. It is not going to do anything to it. It's most likely going through some sort of corporate restructuring kind of thing. So the stocks have flatlined. Okay, if there was another company that has offered to actually buy over this company at a certain stock price, which is what probably happened here, this particular stock over here has done exactly that. Okay, so that's not going to do that anymore. Okay, another one, Chipotle Mexican Grill, in the news a lot in US right now. Those of you who are living there, you know what I am referring to. Another potential trade in earnings. Okay, this one, this is also a pricey stock. Okay, so as you can see, we are full swing into earnings right now. There's a lot of things going on. Okay, this one, oh, it's anyone's guess over here. Okay, this is I think this is a $50 mover as well, or a $100 mover. Last earnings went from about 710 to 650, so this is a $60 jump. This here is about $70 jump, and in actual fact, I think this is actually a better mover, but just take note of the IVs. I'm not too comfortable with 100% IV over here. In excess of 100% IV, and that's it. Okay. Right. Oh, a lot of you are giving me a lot of things tonight. UPS earnings. Just do up your numbers. I think they're fine. UPS looks to be okay. Okay, earnings, right? Now, bearing in mind that if you're unsure of what to take tonight, please actually do it on the virtual trading platform. I don't like UPS for earnings. I'll tell you why. This is the reason. Okay, give me a second. Let me check this. This is the reason why the move has been made here, right? So last earnings the move has been made. This one, probably not. Maybe there might be some moves that can happen. I don't know if this is considered the move has been made or not on UPS, but this is something that we're going to do. Okay, that you're going to look at. Yum, another one for earnings. Okay. This one here. Ooh. Okay, I am not familiar with this. Okay, I really am not familiar with this. So just do up your numbers. You can definitely take the trade. Yum's IV is a lopsided. I do not want to touch it. One side is about 58, the other side is about 60 plus. So probably not too happy with that. Okay, so that's it. Okay. So I think I'm done with the questions. Thank you all for being very, very participative tonight. Please go and read Miriam's newsletter right now. And for those of you who asked me to contact me for tomorrow, please do so with the ETF trades that we are looking forward to take tonight. So thank you all for tonight. You have been a great audience over here with lots of questions for today. So in short over here, some of the trades that you perhaps want to consider: Apple, right? HES, take it as a virtual trade. Of course, a few earnings trade that I've mentioned over here, you can do that. So thank you all. I hope that this pretty long webinar will be fruitful for you all, because I won't be around for the next 2 weeks. So thank you all for being online. Right? Happy Chinese New Year to all of you in advance, and hopefully this year will bring about much better trading opportunities and profits for us. Thank you again for being online. I will see you again in 2 weeks' time.